Here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome into a live edition of the Face Turn podcast here on the Sports Insanity Network. Full house today. You got Mike, Allie, Patchy, Jeff. How we doing, guys?
Where's Noah?
Noah ran into Gene Snitsky and unfortunate things happened.
No, as I told you guys off air, he's the one that has the key. If you don't know that reference, go watch Monday Night Raw.
He's the one behind.
No, I guess
the
Noah probably is cool.
Oh my god. By the way, just quick side note, the best thing on Raw was R-Truth calling Scarlett a fortune teller and saying he has a tag team title match with the APA. That was probably my favorite thing on Raw. So. All right. We're going to dive on in.
I think he's the biggest gift in all of professional wrestling.
He really is.
Yes.
All right. We're going to dive on in. We've got Clash at the Castle tomorrow. We're going to give predictions on those matches. And we got other stuff we've got to talk about because it's been a couple of weeks since we've recorded one of these. But let's start with Clash at the Castle tomorrow, which is in Glasgow, Scotland, at the OVO Hydro. So, all right, Patchy, I'll start with you for the WWE Women's Championship. It's Bayley against Piper Niven.
This is one of the situations as I'm trying to get a X post out, since I am a social media director too for this network. You have to look at both sides of this. We have a couple Scottish-born wrestlers that are wrestling this weekend or tomorrow, if we want to make it short, that are competing for titles. We're going to get to a few other matches that involve the Scottish wrestlers, but this is a match where you still keep the world title on Bayley. Yes, the fans are going to be upset, but the crowd's going to be electric. They're going to be singing, "Hey, Bayley, hoo-ha, I want to know if you want to be my girl." And it's going to probably echo throughout the whole match. On the flip side, this is going to be good for Piper because, wrestling in front of her home crowd, and she's going to show off her skill sets in the ring and prove that, she belongs in a world title picture. I think it's going to be a great match, but I still see Bayley coming out on top with this.
Jeff, I'll come to you next because I agree with something Patchy said because I think this has to be a showcase for Piper Niven to show she's more than just Chelsea Green's, I want to say sidekick, but partner in crime, I guess, is where I'll go.
Yeah, I agree. This is, I believe Bayley's going to come out as champion. But I think it's probably going to come down to one last ditch effort from Bayley to take out Piper to retain the championship. Because if it was me running things, I still wouldn't I wouldn't have her win the championship there, even though it's a feel good moment. But I think this just maybe brings her further on to maybe SummerSlam Survivor Series or something like that. Because eventually Bayley's going to get injured or, knock on wood, or want to take some time off for a couple of months to heal up or do whatever it is. But I think this is definitely, unless they soften her up, Green somehow wins a championship, and I'm fine with that.
Allie?
I mean, this is definitely good for Piper Niven, getting that homecoming welcome. I mean, the last time you saw Piper Niven go for a singles title run, she was Doudrop. And that was like 2 years ago.
And they do drop the ball on that one.
Yep. But now you finally get to see who Piper Niven really is. Although I feel Bayley will still win, you're going to see Piper as a good contender and seeing that she can be an individual superstar compared to other people like her, such as Nia Jax. You know that feud's coming soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a clean sweep. I think Bailey wins also. I think Bailey loses the title sooner rather than later. Probably SummerSlam when she goes up against Nia Jax, but this has to be a showcase for Piper Niven to show there's more depth in the women's division than people think. And who knows, maybe she becomes a threat in Money in the Bank next month, potentially, because there's still a ton of upside there. Although I don't think she'd win it, there's still the upside. All right. For the Intercontinental title in what's been arguably one of the better feuds on Monday Night Raw, Sami Zayn, Ali defends against Chad Gable, the Master.
I mean, this has been one of the greatest feuds so far for Sami Zayn's title run. I mean, you have the story of him manipulating his own academy into doing things for him. The question is, though, will they finally turn against him, or will Otis cost him the match again, causing Otis to finally snap? And that's where I see it. I see Sami retaining and Otis snapping at Chad Gable and finally saying, "I'm done."
Jeff?
I could see Otis finally snapping here, but inadvertently hand me the title. When he goes to take out Chad Gable, he accidentally takes out Sami Zayn. Chad is champion. Now Chad doesn't know how to react to, although he won the championship, he's potentially well aware that Otis was gunning for him. Now we lead up to just Otis for the Intercontinental Championship at the next paper.
Patch?
I something this way. Ref gets knocked out somehow. Otis takes out Chad, but somehow it inadvertently takes out Sami Zayn, and Chad wins the IC title by Otis taking him out. But in the same way, it costs Sami Zayn. Like, everyone's finally happy Otis turns on Gable, but it still costs Sami Zayn.
Saying I'm like a triple threat match at Money in the Bank or something.
Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, but in a way, Otis finally turns on Gable, but it still helps Gable in the end, and Gable thinks it's still all part of the plan.
Yeah, I think Gable needs this win. I've been waiting for Gable to get this great singles run he's had. I really thought he'd be the guy to throw Gunther. They went the Sammy route. Chad Gable, if he's going to be a credible threat, and it also looks like he's signed a new contract. That's the other part of this. There were talks maybe he doesn't re-sign, but it looks like he's re-upped with the WWE. So maybe sign in good faith, he signs, and they give him the Intercontinental title. And if Otis plays a role, Otis plays a role. All right. Jeff, a triple threat tag match for the women's tag titles. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill take on Alba Fry and Isla Dawn, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Who you got, Jeff?
I think this is going to go down to Bianca and Jade winning. Who's going to pick up? That's the biggest toss-up, I think, of the night, and who they pin. I just hope, for many reasons, that it's not. Well, I would think it would be, say, Zoe Stark, because both Alba and Isla are both Scottish. Keep that kind of heat off of Bianca and Jade, because although they may want to see Bianca and Jade win, they're pinning their hometowns. So maybe let them pin either Sheena or Zoe Stark. But it's definitely going to be Bianca and Jade.
Allie?
I think at this point, this is a tough one because you don't know what you're doing with these women's tag titles, and you know they're just gonna be like musical chairs in a way. Someone or hot potato, someone's getting it. But I think it would be great. You know, when back in WrestleMania 35, you got like that iconic moment where the Iconics won the title, no one expected it.
Mhm.
I see that with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the unholy union, pinning, not Bianca, not Jade, pinning Zoe.
Mm.
Yes, this would be Jade's first loss, but she doesn't get pinned. And that's how you also save Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
And it also saves you for the moment from the implosion that the two will eventually have, leading to what should be a great rivalry. Patch?
See, I'm going to agree with Allie. This is, I think, going to be, I think, your Scottish moment of the night. Spoiler alert to a future pick that's going to happen. But this is going to be Isla Dawn and Ava Fire's moment. Going to be their iconic moment, like Allie said, when the Iconics won the tag titles many moons ago at WrestleMania. It's going to be their moment in their home country. So I'm going to go with them. But and agree, it's either pin. It's going to probably be pin Zoe Stark, because you're still going to make Shayna look good, and then you still make it. It keeps killing momentum on Cargill and Belair. So you save them, and then you save it for their implosion whenever that happens, whether it's at SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, or down the road where you build up to their match.
I'd be honest, save that match for Mania.
Well, what you could do, Patchy, in what you're saying, in my opinion, is you put both Jade and Bianca in Money in the Bank, and one of them may cost the other one from winning it. And that starts to grow the tension, and it leads into they're still teaming, but there's still some tension. Maybe that fast forwards to the Rumble and one eliminates the other, which leads to how you get them to WrestleMania. Potentially, I know I'm going months and months in advance, but just an idea.
The idea's out there.
I'm going to go Jade and Bianca because unlike Patchy, I'm going with another Scottish person to help out the crowd and make them leave happy because he has a sword and it really scares me. All right. But before we get there, we have an I Quit match for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. And if you add in Kenny Omega and Finn Balor, it's a fatal four-way of all Bullet Club leaders. Patchy, who do you have in the I Quit match?
This is interesting because you really don't want to hear either or of them say I quit, because to me this is an I quit match where you kind of don't know who's going to say it, that it's not predictable, because we've seen past I quit matches where it's like, oh, we already know who's saying I quit. We saw it when JBL and John Cena had one at Judgment Day way back in the day, one of the bloodiest matches ever in the company. You knew JBL was saying I quit. John Cena's not going to say I quit. John Cena Batista, John Cena's not going to say I quit. Jey Uso, or whichever Uso, I can't remember, that faced Roman.
It was main event Jay.
Okay, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns in Hell in a Cell. Roman's not going to say it. It's that to me. This is we'll go back to Mankind and Rock in their I Quit match, where it was the recorded version of Mankind saying I quit, where you really don't know who's going to say I quit, because Cody has the son of a plumber's heart and won't say I quit. AJ Styles for sure doesn't have those two words in his body to say. So this is a toss-up right now where I don't know who's going to say I quit. Obviously, in this type of situation, pay-per-view will go with, as they say, the throwaway pay-per-view. Even though lately PLEs haven't been throwaways, we've seen a lot of great pay-per-view PLEs everywhere from the WWE. It's going to be Cody that wins, but how does he get AJ to say I quit?
I don't think he's
answer.
gonna say I quit. I think someone from the OC throws in the towel.
I don't. They're not going to
That's
do
the
that.
only way, and it's not Gallows. It's not Anderson. I think it's Meechin who throws the towel.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would just kill AJ Styles. Even though you can't kill AJ Styles' let's say credibility or character, throwing Minchin in there is gonna make that crowd be more heated than probably if Drew loses. It's gonna be a weird way on how one of them says I quit, and I'm very intrigued to see how it goes down.
So, Al, you're going Cody as well.
I'm going Cody as well. I want to, what kind of I quit I want to see? Either the way Batista said I quit, where John Cena just smashes him through, what is it, a car or an ambulance? Or the Hardy style I quit. We put them through a table afterwards. That's the I quits I want to see.
Jeff?
Well, it's definitely, I can't see Cody Rhodes. I'm trying to figure out what he does to AJ that makes him say, I quit. Does he force him to overeat haggis? I have no idea what he's going to do. And it pains me. AJ, my all-time favorite wrestlers, and of this group, this generation, he's on my Mount Rushmore. But I know he's going to lose, and I know he's going to have to say, I quit. I'm just baffled on how is Cody just going to keep going crossroads after crossroads after crossroads after crossroads until he finally says, I quit. One idea, maybe not just for this one, but just in general for an I quit match that I've never seen, but I saw in a real MMA fight with Ken Shamrock. Shamrock beat this guy to a bloody pulp. This guy's face, they turned the faucet on. It was like Abdul the Butcher times Rick
times mass transit.
Yeah.
And Ken Shamrock quit the match. He says, I can't get this guy to stop to submit. I don't know what else to do. I quit. Maybe AJ happened where the guy who should be winning quits because he just can't get the guy that should quit to say I quit. He just gives up and says, forget it. I don't know how much more I can give this person. Or what if they both get knocked out and it's a draw? Like nobody can say I quit because they're both concepts.
That all really interesting. I would love to see AJ Styles get one more WWE title run. Be the first person to say. I don't think it comes at the expense of Cody Rhodes. They built up Cody Rhodes for the last year plus on finishing the story. So unless the surprise is The Rock returns and The Rock costs Cody the title, Cody Rhodes is winning this match.
But The Rock has an elbow injury.
That means nothing.
No, that he could send out Solo, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa to beat him down.
All right.
That would make The Rock the real quote-unquote tribal chief.
I will throw out a wild curveball. Somehow, it sounds really crazy for Cody to say I quit. Rock has Cody's mother hostage.
God.
No.
That went really savage very quickly.
I'm just saying.
He threatens to marry Cody
Mama
Rhodes'
Rhodes.
mother.
But
Yep.
we've
Mama
seen.
Rhodes
Listen,
say,
He,
I
he
do.
kidnaps
You don't say
Brandy. Like, what are
whatever.
we
listen.
doing?
We've seen Bubba Ray Dudley powerbomb Mae Young how many times at the age she was at? I'm just saying. I'm throwing the wildest curveball out there. What if somehow that happens?
But my point on Rock was unless that happens, I just can't see Cody losing.
But that's the only way Cody says I quit. Something
The Rock
happens.
still does whatever he's gonna do.
Rock bottoms her through a table or something, or just gives her a rock bottom.
All right. And
Just
then probably your main event for the world heavyweight title, Damian Priest against Scotland legend Drew McIntyre, where the Judgment Day are quote unquote barred from ringside. All right, Patch, you alluded to it before, so I'll give you the floor on who you got here.
I'm going Damian Priest. Yeah, it's gonna send the Scottish crowd probably into what's that? I wouldn't say a screw job. I'm gonna say it's gonna send that crowd probably into what's the one Scottish movie that's drawing my name right now?
Braveheart.
Braveheart. Yes, it's gonna be like a scene out of Braveheart, and we're gonna have like Damian Priest is gonna be, he needs to get out before it's like ECW one night stand when RVD and Cena faced off, and if Cena won, there was gonna be a riot. There's a few ways this match can go down. One, Liv Morgan gets involved, cost Drew. Two, Drew McIntyre's BFF, best friend in the world, Mr. CM Punk appears while the ref's down, gives him a GTS, and Damian Priest falls into the cover for the 1, 2, 3. Or option C, Sheamus cost Drew McIntyre the match.
Oh,
That's a callback.
that would be interesting.
I think you have to keep the title on Priest just for a little bit more longer. I understand the moment it would be for Drew to win in Scotland at Clash of the Castle.
It makes
The only way Drew wins if he comes out to Broken Dreams. If he comes out
Apparently
Broken
during
Dreams,
the press conference, he kind of just said the lyrics to it.
he said the lyrics to Damian Priest. So I'm saying Drew needs to come out to Broken Dreams to say, all right, I'm winning the world title. He doesn't have to come out to the current song he has for his entrance. Come out to Broken Dreams because the crowd will sing it, and it will be means that it's business time for Drew. And he's just not coming out to, kick ass and hit a Claymore. He's coming in to become world champion. But you keep the world title on Priest till SummerSlam. Then you take it off at him on SummerSlam. Whoever beats him, I don't know. I'm not planning that out yet. But
it's going to be Gunther if it's SummerSlam.
Hopefully it is Gunther.
But
No. That's what he got for winning King of the Ring.
That's right. But Drew. Pains me to say Drew McIntyre is losing. The only bright side, he gets to wrestle in front of his home crowd, and it's going to be a bummer if he loses because that crowd's going to be hot if he loses.
Jeff?
Well, we have 1 and 2 and 3 Scottish people all losing in Scotland. Will they make it a 4th person of Scottish ancestry birth to lose in Scotland? I think there could be an upset here, and Drew walks out the champion. I do not think he's going to win clean. I mean, he could win more or less clean because the crowd, unless he does something, like I don't know what he can do that's crowd off. I mean, he just got inducted, and congratulations to Drew getting inducted into the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame. But it says here that the Judgment Day are banned from ringside. Carlito is not a member of the Judgment Day yet. He could get involved thinking he's going to help Damian Priest and cost him. Liv Morgan could come down to do, I don't know, Liv Morgan things, and out comes Dominic Mysterio to kind of more or less cut her off at the pass. And shenanigans ensue. Whambo Bambo, Drew McIntyre's your new world heavyweight champion, because she's trying to take everything away from Mommy. She's trying to take Dominic Mysterio away from her. It could be taking championships away from the Judgment Day itself. There's different possibilities where she gets involved with Dom in one way or another. Carlito, who's out there to do good for Damian Priest and win him over. Maybe he costs him. So unless it's an on-the-fly thing and they say, let's see how this crowd reacts to Drew. If he does get that hero's welcome, then they got to go that route. Or if he comes out and he still gets booed, and they say, okay, if he's getting booed by the crowd, we're going to go with plan B, which is Damian retaining. So I think I wouldn't be shocked if we wait and not even know until the crowd reaction. He gets the hero's welcome, you get him winning the title. You don't get the hero's welcome, Damian retains. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre winning the championship. I love both men. They're both amazing. I give a little bit to Priest because of his one move, South of Heaven, named after a Slayer song. But then Drew, I've been a Drew fan ever since he came back to the company. Just that tenacity that he has. And nothing against Damian, but Drew looks like a world champion. If you were to create a human being outside of, say, Randy Orton and a few other wrestlers, especially back in, say, Vince's days or even in the territory days, Drew looks like a bad man, a really bad man that looks like a champion, if you get what I mean. So, and Damian does too, but I think there's just something for me personally with Drew. I think that an investment into his career that I don't quite have yet with Damian Priest, so I'm leaning with Drew.
All right. Allie?
It's really a tough one. I mean, I've been thinking Drew is gonna win the title back. And just like you guys said, it could be because of the interference of Judgment Day. Or I see a little karma coming back to Drew the last time he had a world title match in the UK. But it's not a debut of someone. 1, 2, someone drags the ref out, and that person is CM Punk. Because I think he'll come back and pretty much say anybody but you for the title.
But if Drew gets that hero's welcome, that could really mess with Punk's
essentially then it's a
character,
flip.
yes. Because
then essentially you're flipping Drew face now, and then CM Punk's the heel.
and I personally don't see that happen. I mean, maybe.
Well, it's also
maybe
something
Punk
that's
shows
taking
up just to
place
kind of mess with
in Europe. So Punk's going to be the heel there no matter what, because Drew is the hometown hero.
Right. And this is going to lead.
And does that
to
carry
Drew not
over to the
winning.
United States?
I got a feeling Drew might not win in Scotland, but win in Toronto and have the same fate happen to him again.
Go ahead, Allie. Finish
Or
up
he
and then-
does win and still has the same fate happen to him again. Priest has a rematch with him. McIntyre wins, and guess who will have the briefcase and cash in said night?
What, you have CM Punk win Money in the Bank for a third time?
Yup.
Well, I think everything's going to depend on his health. Where is he in his recovery? I think that's the $1 million question at the moment. I'm with Jeff. I would have Drew win Because here's the thing, for me at least, whoever wins this match, whether it's Priest, whether it's McIntyre, you're holding it till SummerSlam when Gunther chops your head off and he winds up becoming the world champion. Because I think that is a foregone conclusion. But after what happened last year in the Roman match, I think Drew has earned this moment and he's earned this opportunity to give him that moment with not only a crowd, but his home crowd in Scotland. He may paint his face like Braveheart. Who knows? But I think the name you guys keep bringing up Punk, but I know, Patchy, you alluded to it, and Jeff, you did too. I think Liv Morgan plays a big factor here. We could say the Judgment Day's barred from ringside. Jeff, you said Carlito's not a member of Judgment Day. Well, neither is Liv Morgan. And by the way, I was just throwing this out there. I have no idea if any of this could happen. What if Liv Morgan tries to get involved and that's how Rhea Ripley returns?
Mm.
And then your divide in Judgment Day becomes Rhea and Priest against Liv and either Dom or Finn, since Finn, took the hotel key card. Don't worry, Finn, your secret's safe with us. But yeah, I mean, and if Punk is healthy,
Sly dog, yeah.
And if Punk is healthy and he wants to GTS McIntyre after McIntyre wins, go for it. But there has to be a payoff at some point with that. Who knows? But all right. Those are the Clash picks. But we do have other stuff we want to get around to. Let's keep it with the WWE. Because we had a couple of contracts that have been discussed, and we really don't know where things stand. A couple of weeks ago on Raw, Becky Lynch lost her rematch for the women's world title against Liv Morgan in a cage. It's been speculated her contract had run out and she needed time off, and there was no deal done yet between the two sides. Ricochet has his contract is expiring too, and if you didn't watch Raw on Monday, well, he got taken out by Braun Breaker. But then WWE posted an update on Ricochet, which makes you wonder if he has re-signed or what the deal is there. So whichever one you guys want to start off with, Patchy, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Becky Lynch and Ricochet's contract situations.
Becky Lynch ain't going nowhere. She hasn't made in WWE. She can practically go. Not to say she's Hulk Hogan, but she can basically go, all right, I'm ready to come back. I want the title. You know what they'll do? They'll give her the title. We've seen it many times when she's come back. All right, I'm ready to come back. She comes back, here's the title. They put the title back on her, then she'll help elevate talent, which, to me, you don't need a title to elevate talent, but that's a side discussion for a different day. Ricochet interests me because, now on X, they have the 3-minute matches of Speed, WWE Speed. They make him win. He wins the championship. And now, he dropped the title to Andrade because Andrade was frustrated, which is another side discussion for a different day. I could see Ricochet going other places, but he's been featured on TV recently. He's been in the feud with Dragunov and Breaker. So why not keep that going? Maybe this is just a way for him to get written off for a couple months. Just, maybe he has some nagging injuries, and yes, maybe his contract's up. But them posting an update shows that maybe he has re-signed. And in essence, you also kind of rid off Samantha Irvin too, because she got in the ambulance with him. We might not see her for maybe this is their write-off
tonight.
Oh, she was back tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she was.
All right, well, good.
So Pat McAfee was a good ring announcer for that one match.
Oh my God.
It was great.
Drew, he called Drew a badass and thin jacked.
Zero, pretty much 0% fact.
Zero 0% body fat. But you know, it's interesting because I can see Ricochet resigning. If not, I've said this in our group chat: stay the hell away from AEW. Go wrestle in New Japan. Go wrestle down in AAA.
But
Just
you guys
sit.
are making me think because you're seeing more WWE interactions with TNA. Maybe Ricochet goes to TNA instead, and he still is a part. Still does that Forbidden Door thing with WWE.
It's going to be interesting. If anything, he's resigned. Just for the love of God, stay away from AEW. No offense to AEW. They have enough freaking talent to begin with that they don't know how to use.
We'll get into that in a few minutes. Jeff, where are you on the Lynch and Ricochet stuff?
Well, Becky, like, does she go? If she goes somewhere else, she could go to an already overcrowded AEW as Rebecca Lynch. She could
Rebecca
go
Black.
to
That'd be funny.
yes,
Rebecca
she
Black
goes Rebecca Black.
He comes out to Friday.
Yeah, she can. So she can. You know, she has some options, just like Ricochet does. I think. Do you think that some fans, and some fans are definitely not, but is there a contingency of fans that say we're just kind of tired of her? We love her in-ring work. We love everything about her, but kind of almost in a way people were with Charlotte. They're just Charlotted out. They're Becky'd out. I would love to see her kind of go away, enjoy her family, enjoy some relaxation, go on a vacation, do something for more than 2 months. If she stayed away for the rest of the year and came back as one of the surprise entrants at the Royal Rumble, that would be great. That would be a nice little surprise. Then you could work her into something at least for WrestleMania, because she's always going to bring eyes to the product when it comes to women's wrestling. This is why I wish that Billy Corgan would do something bigger with the NWA. They have the name, the NWA just holds so much history, and there hasn't really been anything since TNA kind of split from them at one point. But that's just another whole long discussion I could have about that. If she does stay, great. If she doesn't stay and she goes elsewhere, yeah, go to TNA or go to Japan, where she would definitely get over, or go to Mexico. I would take this opportunity to maybe say, you know what, let them kind of be without me for a little bit. Do what Drew McIntyre did. Do what Cody Rhodes did. They went elsewhere. They kind of gave people a new look at them and then come back. Same with Ricochet. I think he'll be back at some point, even if he decides not to keep his re-sign his contract, which is not up yet anyway. So I think that's why they're doing the status update on him. What I think they should do is, we don't know when he's going to be back, and like what they're doing now, and have him go to TNA. They have some great wrestlers there that he can mix it up with. One guy, as far as fantasy booking, if they put him back on the show, and is Speedball Mike Bailey. I think that would be just a tremendous thing. Him with Mike Santana and a few other guys they have going on in TNA. I think that's his only real American option. Once again, NWA is out of the question, unfortunately, because Billy Corgan, for whatever reason, is just using more unknown talent, I guess is the best way to say it.
He's a smashing pumpkin, though.
Yeah, he's smashing those pumpkins. It kind of annoys me in a way that I want them to do so much better. Uh, but and to bring in a Becky Lynch, to bring in a Ricochet would just be great. I mean, Hulk Hogan went to WCW before they had Monday Nitro and everything because he went there in '94, so '93, '94. So they still had a few years before they got their big show. So you never know, but that's what I think. So I will say eventually, and Ricochet will go to TNA. That's or Japan.
All right, Allie.
I mean, I've definitely talked about Ricochet probably going into TNA. Becky, it's tough because I definitely agree with what you guys say. Let Becky have a lot of time off. Let her be with her family. If she wants to expand her family, it would be a good time. Let her be out for a year. Let her just relax.
The expanding family part is then it's harder to come back.
True.
I mean, look, we haven't seen apples to oranges, but you look at Maurice. Maurice left, came back for a little bit, and she has 2 kids now. She has no desire to come back now, unless it's a one-off for the Royal Rumble.
That is
And
true.
bingo, that's where I think Becky could come back is the Royal Rumble. Also, I wouldn't be shocked if you kept Seth Rollins out until the Royal Rumble too.
Seth is going to be out until the Rumble.
Yeah,
He's
Seth
injured.
outside of yes, Seth was injured. He had to have his knee repaired. I think his shoulder repaired as well. He had a lot of nagging injuries.
I know, but what my point is just saying you don't have to rush them back. You have enough depth in both divisions right now to the point where everything's okay. You don't have to.
The only
you
thing
don't
with
have to
Becky,
rush
the
them.
only thing with Becky is if you bring her back at the Rumble, everyone's going to expect her now to win the Rumble.
True.
Or you
and
just
then-
start her next.
And then if she
whatever
doesn't win the
programs
Rumble,
are.
everyone's going to be upset that she didn't win the Rumble because, it's been so long since we've seen Becky
Well, there
Lynch.
is another option. They did this before with her. Bring her back for War Games.
But we don't even know what War Games is going to look like. The men's side, we have an idea what War Games is going to be. The women's side, we don't know yet.
Who knows? Could be Team Rhea
Yeah,
versus Team Liv.
I mean, men's War Games, we got Bloodline Civil War 2.0.
It's
Let's
It's
freaking
Bloodline
go.
Civil War.
And didn't they just franchise, I think, another Tonga or Tama?
Yeah, Hickolo from New Japan looks like he's coming over, but they're naming him Tolatanga, which I think is the greatest name ever. What
Wow.
sets him apart? He's just taller.
Tama?
Manager will be Teddy Long, who will just say he's a player. He's
Holla,
a taller
holla.
player.
Or
Holla, holla, holla. But to the Ricochet point, I don't know how you guys feel, but I felt like Ricochet, once he came up, felt misguided and misled, and it just didn't work for whatever the reason may be, and it wasn't utilized properly. So we'll see what happens with both. I do want to go into a couple of AEW things, but there's one other thing I do want to bring up because Jeff talked about Hogan before. Have you guys watched this documentary of who killed WCW on Vice?
I heard about it.
Oh,
Not yet.
The first 2 episodes are up on YouTube. Fantastic stuff.
I'll have to look into it.
Oh yeah, the first episode really good, dives deep into Eric Bischoff, NWO stuff. This past week's episode dove more into Goldberg and the Streak and stuff like that. Next week's episode dives into Vince Russo. So
When are we getting Booker T?
Booker T's been featured on it, talking wise. Booker
Well,
T's
Booker T
been in
didn't-
it.
Booker T didn't kill WCW. They're talking about, what led to the demise.
And he was there the whole time, but he's on it. Conan's on it. Kevin Nash, Bischoff, Goldberg, Bret Hart's been on it.
Well,
Mysterio.
is it showing old footage of them doing interviews, or is it current interviews?
It's more current stuff.
Oh, fantastic! Then I'm intrigued
Yeah,
because
it's not old
we
stuff. But
we've
like,
seen it
there's
with Patch
old
Up.
Patchy. There's old footage, but it's more modern interviews. All right, so there's that. If you want to watch that, Vice, YouTube.
There's a three-headed one.
It's from the same guys who've done Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh.
And The Rock, I believe, is an
okay.
executive producer. All right. We'll jump into AEW for a couple of minutes, then we'll end it. 2 notes mainly. One, at Double or Nothing, we saw the return of MJF, who is now been thrown into a program with Rouge, which is interesting to say the least. Guys, any thoughts on MJF coming back, returning?
Back. That's the best way to say it. I think every one of us probably knew he would not sign with WWE. We had those thoughts, but I'm like, he's gonna stay loyal to AEW.
He's gonna stay loyal for as long as he can before he jumps.
Until the forbidden
I wonder
door.
how long his contract is. Because I don't think they ever released how long his contract is for. It could be for a year. I'm hoping for the tattoo that he put on himself, if that's a real tattoo, that it's for a good amount of time and a large amount of money to get a tattoo with AEW's logo on you, because it'll look really weird on WWE TV in a couple of years. Because he's still a young dude. I mean, he's what, 25, I think?
Oh,
roughly?
27. Gonna be 28. Oh, he's
27.
28.
Okay, so you figure he could be there for another. I mean, once he hits, unless he's just ridiculously over in the next, 3, 4, 5 years from now, there'll be no point. I don't think there will be really I can't say there wouldn't be a point for WWE bringing him in unless he's hella over in AEW and like the guy, kind of like what Cody Rhodes was at one point when he came back over. But if he's somehow slipped down and become what Switchblade Jay White has become, then there'll be no need for him to go over to. I should say there won't be a need for him, but I don't know if they'll need him anymore. I think now would have been his best opportunity to go over. Unless I don't know what type of.
WWE has so much going on right now, they kind of didn't need MJF. MJF's better off staying AEW. He can keep building up his craft, and then in like 3 years, if his contract's up, then make the jump.
I mean, I
think it would move him to stay anyway, because you had a promotion that believed in you, and took a chance on you, pretty much gave you the ball, and you were the face of that company until your body said, no, you got to step away. What better way to repay that company? And with the money that the Cons have, they're not going anywhere unless something.
Yeah, I mean, they just paid Trevor Lawrence over $200 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did. Let's see how that works out.
The only thing I disliked about the MJF return was the Adam Cole appearance. For this reason, if there's no Adam Cole program coming, there was no reason to have Cole come out and then just take that shot from MJF. Let's wait. You have that program in your back pocket when both are ready to compete.
I thought he was going to. I thought it'd been. If Cole was able to go, he was definitely the best option, 100%. In my opinion, for MJF to go back to. But now that if he's not 100% and can't really go yet, they put him with Roosh, and that's going to be I think that's going to be a great match. But of all the people, like, why Roosh? Like, there's no. I don't. There was no real backstory. There was no.
Wow.
There was no nothing there, so I don't really get it.
But
why him? Or
But then going back to the whole Adam Cole MJF, maybe they're saving it for All In.
Cole hasn't been cleared, so
He's not going to be cleared until August. I got a
yeah.
feeling.
So maybe
right
maybe
around
that's your
All In.
all in or all out thing.
Yep, that's what they're going to do is save it until
Which is fine. Save it, which is what you should do. The other thing that was announced this past Wednesday on Dynamite is we've got another Blood and Guts next month. It'll consist of the New Elite, the Bucks, Jack Perry, Okada, and I partner, I guess, of their choice, taking on Team AEW, which I guess will consist now of at least Swerve Strickland, because that's what it looked like on Dynamite. We'll see what happens from there. But we got another Blood and Guts coming.
So when are they doing the women's Blood and Guts?
I don't know. Ask Tony Khan. It's not a question for me.
What?
Seriously, if they have women's war games, why not have women's Blood and Guts?
They have enough people for it, for sure.
You could do a Team Tony versus
And
Team Mariah or Team Mariah.
Yeah. See,
By the way, why
here's-
is Tony
here's
Storm
the thing
still
with
the
that.
best thing on that?
I
Timeless
don't
Tony
think
Storm is
the
still the
women-
best thing they've got.
I don't think the women need a blood and guts because chances are there's going to be oozing, gallons of blood spilled. And personally, I don't. I mean, it's one thing when a woman bleeds in a steel cage match 1-on-1, but how much scarring is going to happen on their foreheads from the bleeding over the course of that match? And I personally wonder if that's something the regular wrestling fans are ready for yet. Have they gotten to that point where they can? It's one thing when a guy bleeds, but when, say, how many Blood and Guts? There's what, 8 or 10 people in Blood and Guts?
10, it's 5
Are
out
they
of 5.
just the overall average fan, the young kids, ready to see 8 to 10 women all bleeding profusely from their foreheads? Unless it's like maybe there's a few women that you can see it happening. Like if there was like a Maxi Impaler or an Abaddon type of character where they're already technically dead, then they shouldn't bleed then, because if they're dead, there's no blood in the body. But more than that, I just don't know. I just don't know if the average everyday fan is ready to see that much. See that? I that's just my own personal opinion on it. I don't know if I'd want to see it personally. I think it's a bit much. Like I don't like, and I love blood in wrestling. It has its place, but especially when you have too much blood in one pay-per-view, it's
The
kind
other
of ridiculous.
The other thing is this: you have to be able to build a story that leads into that.
Yeah, that's that's like Hell in a Cell. That's your last bastion of. That's the end of it.
Right.
There are no.
Like War Games, for example. War Games is the end. It's the pinnacle of a rivalry. When you have that storyline.
Yeah.
That has to be the statement ending. Excuse me. And you have to involve two teams. There has to be a reason behind why the two teams hate each other. There has to be a reason why each person is involved for a specific reason.
Yeah.
Argument's sake, I mean, Jeff, I think you'll know this maybe more than the others, but back in the day, TNA has a pay-per-view called Lockdown. Every match inside the steel cage. The main event was always this lethal lockdown show, the match.
Yeah.
Which was War Games.
And that was just once a year.
That was just once a year. So you just have to build the story to getting there. So if you could figure out how you would do that, Al, you said maybe it's a Team Tony versus Team Mariah. Okay. But you can't do that in the span of a month. You need to figure that out sooner rather than later if you're ever going to do it.
I'll pose this question for Blood and Guts for the new elite.
And I think they're still a little too early on the blood. I think they shouldn't have blood and guts right now anyway for this. You just had anarchy in the
arena.
The he's going to participate is something to be, something not known yet. I think they need to build up a bigger feud. If they had blood and guts in like August, September, or October, I think that will like really get it where you're at the very end. You're at the. I think they're a little too early into this, new elite, because let's say the new elite win.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't really built up any. You got people that don't like them on the shows, but you haven't built up anything, in my opinion, that's brought it to that level where you're like, I am going to utterly gut you. I'm going to what's this, the clown Terrifier, Art the Clown. There's nobody that's wants to Art the Clown them yet. And I think when Swerve gets to that point, more possibly down the year, in my opinion, that's where it's him and a couple other guys who are at that point where you're like, I just can't take it anymore. They, you would maybe get Tony Khan involved for giving him that spike pile driver, where he's like, I'm gonna find some guys and that can take you out. I'm gonna and have that part of the thing. If you lose your EVP status. There has to be some type of consequence to them losing or winning the match.
Right.
Like what happens if they win the match? But if they lose the match, they have to be so confident. It's like, we'll put up our EVP status. We'll tear up our EVP contracts and just be regular talent like everybody else. I think that's what they should do, and I don't think they should do it now. I think if they want to do it down the road, then so be it.
Maybe it's something you end the year on.
Yes, they need time to build this. That sometimes they do that. They
rush it a little bit.
They rush everything just to get the big match, and the match could be it's this big, but if you give it some time to fester, you give it some seasoning. It's like putting bland chicken on the grill. You got to season that thing up, put some sauce on it, put some spices on it. Now you got to go from here. Now you're up here.
Patch, what were you going to go with?
I was going to go with, if they're doing this blood and guts, if the Bucks go over right away, what does this continue the narrative that the Bucks only are in it for themselves and don't care about putting over other talent? Because I understand the Bucks are holding the trios titles right now, or
tag titles.
Rolling the tag titles. Why do the Bucks need the tag titles in their own company?
I don't disagree with you. I think the interesting question would be the way they've aligned with people. Like Okada doesn't need them. He's a star regardless. He's really, I think, over there. So the casual American fan knows who he is. Jack Perry, it gives him something to do. If I'm being brutally honest, I hate these EVP roles that they're playing. I get it. They're supposed to be bad guys and use their power of authority against others. But to me, it's kind of like you're trying to be what the NWO was. And you're not that. You are supposed to be different from that.
Well, you mentioned that, they're trying to be like the NWO, and you saw Talon get, not exhausted, fed up with how that was, and that's why they left for WWE. look at the moment we had on NXT this past week. When
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes was there. You had Cody Rhodes, you had Lexus King, you had Ethan Page, and I'm missing someone else.
Sean Spears.
Sean
And
Spears.
Sean Spears. Yeah. And you see Cody just go, hey, you're doing good. Because he knew they were being mistreated over there.
By the way, that goes into a deeper thought process because you talked about people jumping ship, but we also had the forbidden door open between WWE and TNA when Jordan Grace fought Roxanne for the NXT Women's title on.
And you had her in the Royal Rumble too this past year.
Yeah.
Like now that we're in this
And that was
new
probably
era,
Roxanne's best match.
Oh, it was a
very-
great match.
it was a fantastic match. We can get into conversation about that at a different time, but we talk about this new era WWE is in, and WWE is just showing why they still remain the top of the mountain. They don't have to open the forbidden door. They made Ethan Page relevant within 5 minutes of him doing a promo, where he was not sniffing anything over at the other company. Same thing with Sean Spears. Sean Spears comes back. He doesn't come back as Ty Dillinger. He comes back as Sean Spears. You see Lexus King come over, being like his father. Not want to be like his father, and he embraces a new character, but still has shades of Pillman in him. WWE knows what they're doing. And we'll never know what they could have done with certain talent if they came over, like Okada and Ospreay. We won't know. But for three people to come over from AEW, granted one of them was there in the past with WWE, in Ty Dillinger now being Spears, we've seen what they know what they're doing, especially with HBK and Shawn Michaels in charge. They're like, we're gonna give you a little bit of chicken, make the salad. Don't turn it into chicken shit. Turn it into salad. And that's what all of these guys are doing when they're coming over. They're just turning into salad. The crowds are grasping to them right away.
I think you just said the key to everything, though, Patchy. Who's running the shows?
Triple H. and
That
Shawn
plays a
Michaels.
huge difference because why would most of these other guys leave? Well, a cranky old man who was ripping up scripts and sexually harassing and assaulting women was in charge.
And also, you really think about it, before, we had to have this Wednesday Night War beef where NXT had to compete with AEW, and we got NXT 2.0, which is, we got some great things out of 2.0, but when
The
NXT was
paintball
just
set.
paintball set, but when NXT was just on the network, Triple H was cooking every week.
Yep.
He was showing what he could do with the creative mind. Look, we got the Undisputed Era out of it. We got Nakamura. We got a whole bunch of people out of it that we can name the long list. And then unfortunately, when they got called up to the main roster, it was we're feeding you to one of four people to keep the money grab in, where those four people could have put that talent over.
Oh my
And
goodness.
only one person really kind of put some talent over, and we know his name already. We just can't see him right now.
Damn you, John Cena.
Exactly. Cena was the one that would be the one that, all right, you know what, you can test the, if I put you over, keep yourself up in that mountain. If you fall off, it's on you. It wasn't on me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that, like I said, we're in this new era, we're seeing that WWE, let's open the door. Let's bring some talent in. We'll send some talent over. Let's create this new relationship to show that we're out of the old regime. And Triple H is all for it. Like I say, people keep saying, when's Joe Henry showing up in NXT? Because everyone, if you say his name, he shall appear. And we might get this in this 25-man battle royale next week.
Cody Rhodes announced on Tuesday.
Matt Hardy
Joe
might
Hendry
make
lost.
an appearance.
And Joe Hendry lost tonight.
No. Maybe he's flying to Scotland to help
He
his
lost to
buddy
Frankie
Drew
Kazarian.
McIntyre.
He could be on his way to Scotland to help Drew.
Could be.
But like I say, does this, like I say, to revert this all back to blood and guts, if the Young Bucks put themselves over, does this continue the narrative that the Bucks are only in it for themselves to show that, you know what, screw the rest of you, this is all about us, this is our company, we're going to do what we want?
I think it would say that they need a real booker in there. And it can't just be Tony Khan and the talent. There has to be
An actual booker.
an
That's gonna
actual
make
booker.
sense.
I'm not even talking Booker T.
I mean, you keep seeing the people that were with
He
WWE
needs to
that
do what Ted Turner did.
well, don't hire Eric Bischoff. I think Bischoff's
He
just
should just supply them. No, but he's out of things.
Yeah, and
That's one thing Ted Turner did. He trusted, and he did well until
the AOL merger.
things happened in the company. But yeah,
I'll discuss
that's what
on who really killed WCW. Again, if you haven't watched it, watch it. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss on this episode? All right.
Two things. One, Hulk Hogan coming out called Real American Beer.
Are you
From what
trying
I
it?
read, it will be available. Probably not in New York. I will try it. I will try. I tried the Broken Skull beers. I tried the regular and the IPA. I did like the IPA better.
The IPA is
And
better.
congratulations to yeah. And on the TNA pay-per-view here, congratulations to PCO. He asked Steph DeLander out on a date. He gave her a little card that was drawn in like a child, and it said "we" or "no" on the card, and she accepted. So now PCO, the wonderful French Canadian, is going to go out on a date with Steph DeLander. We'll see if that develops into a breeding relationship, or if she'll screw him over on the bequest of Matt Cardona. We don't know. But so far, it's been a really good pay-per-view. The TNA pay-per-view so far has been actually really good. So,
All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Face Turn podcast here on the Sports Insanity Network. Patch, you want to give the socials?
Well, SIN Real Insanity for the network on the X. Follow us on YouTube by searching Sports Insanity Network. Where you're watching this right now, click that bell, follow, get those updates for us when we're live or when a random video gets released throughout the network. Website www.thesportsanitynetwork.com to keep up with all of the Pun Masters blogs along with the rest of the crew.
All right. Till next time, for Allie, Patchy, and Jeff, I'm Mike. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Face Turn podcast here on the Sports Insanity Network. Enjoy Clash and